Been enjoying this week's worth of lessons. I know I have, and I'm especially excited about today because today we have friends joining us from Highland Wildlife Park. Just hold on one moment while I sort everything out here. Right. So we're going to start today like we normally do. We're going to have a look at all of the lovely photos that you've been sending in for us today. We've got Miss Merritt's class and P54S joining us with look at them watching all the lessons and taking all the information in. I hope you've managed to write some letters or do the experiments that we were doing throughout the week. P44S are very excited to get a shout out. So here's another one. Hello. And we've got some posters already starting to be made from Elderbank Primary School. And as you can see, they've got their jar experiment. They've got a voting board there. Which glass do they think will be warmer? And they've been voting to see who thinks which one will be warmer. So Elderbank Primary, you'll have to let us know if you were right. Okay, I'd love to hear the results of your experiment. And here we've got the biomimicry activity that Claire was showing us yesterday. Some excellent examples there from St. Andrew's Primary in Airdrie. I like the one for litter with the inspired by the Venus flytrap. That is very cool. Oh, and some more. I like all the hands. That's a very good invention. Who couldn't use more hands, really? St. Ninian's Primary and Mrs. Dune's class watching our lesson, and St. Ninian's Primary 7 have been recording their learning and the power of observation. That's very good. Elderbank Primary working on their experiment there. That's a very fancy thermometer. Very cool. Carnegie Primary School taking lots of notes. They're going to make a mind map after the lesson, and then they're going to write their letters. Very good. Right, and we've got two more classes, St. Ninian's again, and HWPS. I'm not quite sure which class that is or which school that is, but hello. Houghton Primary School. Some fantastic inventions there that were inspired by nature. I'd love to see them up close. If you would like to scan them or take a closer picture and send them in, I'd love to be able to read them. They look really cool. Lethem Primary in Angus, Miss Merritt's class again. Oh, I'm seeing some mosaics being made there. Those are very nice. I wonder which animal you've chosen to do. And Lethem Primary School are doing their experiment with the jars. And again, we'd love to see how you did with the answers to the questions. That'd be very good. And we're also beginning to see the first few entries for our craftivism competition coming in. These are gorgeous. I love these. Blackford Primary School has sent in their Scottish honeybee, and Twinham School has sent in one about the Scottish mountain hare. Those are great. It's exactly the kind of thing that we're looking for. So well done. If you haven't sent yours in yet, please do, because we love seeing these. Here are some more being made. One about Scottish wildcats. I'm loving all the eyes. And Sacred Heart Primary is starting theirs too. I can't wait to see them. There's more from Sacred Heart. Oh, I'm seeing a fox and what looks like a, is it a robin? That's very cool. Oh, and look, St. Andrew's Primary have done theirs outside, and they've done it with leaves and twigs and stones. That's very cool. What a clever idea. Carnegie Primary School did a litter pick. Remember, that was one of the 3 things that we were asking you to do, if you could, please. And I can see it says they didn't love how much rubbish they picked up. No, and I don't think that's not a good part, but the good part is that it's not there anymore and that you've cleaned it all up. So well done. Thank you so much for doing that. And St. Andrew's Primary School also did a litter pick. Well done. St. Xavier's looks like they've done one as well. This is great. So now it's time for the what can you remember from yesterday? Don't worry if you haven't watched the lesson from yesterday. That's okay, because it's been recorded and you can watch it on our website later on. But if you were here yesterday, let's see if you can remember what we learned about. So George de Mestral was an observant and perseverant engineer. Oh, can you remember what caught his attention that led him to invent Velcro? Let's see if you can put it in the chat. And I will see if I can go back and look at it. There we go. I can see the chat now. Can you remember what he noticed about the burrs that inspired him? Something very clever. Yes, they stuck to his dog. Well done. Well done for everyone saying they stuck to his dog. That is exactly the right answer. Focus on the burdocks. Yep. Right. Now, can you remember which feature of the kingfisher attracted the attention of the engineers who were working on making the Japanese bullet train more efficient? Do you remember it's a really fast train, but it was really noisy? Beak. You remember what about the beak? What can a kingfisher do? I think Miss Hamill's class has it right. Yep, that's right. It was that a kingfisher can dive into the water to catch prey and barely make a splash. It doesn't make hardly any noise when it dives. And they wanted to make the bullet trains more quiet because although they're really fast, they were making a really loud noise. So with the new shape inspired by the kingfisher's bill, they're actually a lot more quiet. Yep. You can see the long pointy shape. Now, can you remember how much more efficient the train was thanks to these features? It's a tricky one. Might not remember the actual numbers, but oh, well, someone does. Well done. Yes, it saved both. It saved energy and it was faster thanks to the shape, even faster than it had been before. So it was 10% faster and used 15% less energy, which doesn't seem like much, but it's quite a lot if you think about how much energy that saves over a long time. One more. And can you remember how watching darkling beetles, how the observation of darkling beetles is also helping us? What can they do? What's this little beetle doing right now? I remember Claire telling us it's a very small beetle, about the size of a blueberry. That's right. He's collecting water on his back from condensation. And then he can lean forward and the water runs down his back and he can drink it. So this is giving us ideas of ways for harvesting water through condensation from the atmosphere, which is really important for places that are really dry. Or now with our warmer planet, it's very important. So the darkling beetle lives in harsh and dry conditions, and the nature of its shell makes it a master water collector, right? With its little grooves or bumps. So perhaps this is something that we can use in creating water collection nets or surfaces of roofs, or even bottle filling systems to help us conserve water. Well done, everyone. You've obviously been paying a lot of attention to the lessons and you've got a great memory. And now I'm so excited to introduce our friends Jasper Hughes and Helena Parsons from Highland Wildlife Centre. And hopefully they've got some very exciting things to show us today. So I'm just going to stop sharing and pass you over. Hi.
Hi guys, how you doing? So I'm Jasper. We got Helena, she's just behind the camera. There you can see her hand waving. So we are actually at the snow leopard enclosure, but I'm just looking around. We have seen the snow leopard. They have been out and about. Just when Kat was talking, we saw it come down the cliff face. What we'll do, we'll just show you the enclosure first. What I'm going to do, you can have a good look around there, see if you can spot it. It did go into hunting mode when it saw its neighbours, the markhor, type of wild goat next door to it. but at the moment it's just nipped behind a rock and disappeared. But anyway, going back to what we were saying, for those of you who've never met me before, my name is Jasper, and I am the Discovery and Learning Officer here at the Highland Wildlife Park. Where is the Highland Wildlife Park? Well, we are located in the Highlands of Scotland, right at the top, and we are in an area of outstanding natural beauty in the Cairngorms National Park itself. Now, the Highland Wildlife Park is actually owned by RZSS, the Royal Zoological Society of Scotland. They own Edinburgh Zoo and the Highland Wildlife Park. And RZSS is a conservation charity, and we actually manage 23 conservation projects worldwide. And we're going to be talking about some of our amazing projects that we are involved in. You can get more information on our website, rzss.org.uk, and there you can see all the fantastic work that we've been doing. But what we're going to talk about today is ecosystems. We're going to be talking about the animals in the ecosystems. And like I say, we want to make sure that ecosystems are healthy. We want to make sure that they are working correctly. So if you can imagine an ecosystem, it's like a brick wall, and each brick in that wall is a species, whether it be plant or tree or animal or insect, it doesn't matter which. But what happens if you take out a brick? What happens if you take out an animal? What is going to happen to that ecosystem eventually? Put your answers in the chat. What's going to happen to the wall? What's going to happen to the ecosystem if you take out too many animals or too many bricks? So any answers coming through, Helena?
Oh, we're still waiting.
Still waiting?
For some.
Not
oh,
sure.
We have a collapse.
It is going to collapse. And unfortunately, that's what's happening to some ecosystems around the world. So we need to make sure that they are functioning properly, that they are working nicely, and all the animals that are there should be doing what they're doing. Now, this is an ecosystem. This is what we have here at the park, okay? But these are some of the animals that can be found in the Himalayas. So we were going to focus in on the snow leopards, and the snow leopards actually feed on all of these animals that you can see here. So we've got Pallas's cat, we've got yak, we've got Himalayan tar, red panda, and marco. I mentioned them earlier, the type of wild goat. But how do we know what animals are in the ecosystem? If we're lucky enough, we may be able to spot them if you've got binoculars or a telescope, but you're looking at them from a long distance away. But how do we observe them better? Well, we can do this via camera traps. And that's what we're going to be talking about today, and how we use camera traps in our projects. But what are our projects? So we're just going to come over here. Is that snow leopard come out? Let's see if the snow leopard has popped out. I can't see. Now, I'll tell you a little bit about this enclosure. It is one of my favorite enclosures. Where do the snow leopards come from? They come from the Himalayas. So we had this massive rock face here, and we thought, what can we do with it? And we thought we could put snow leopards in here. And this snow leopard enclosure, they have a holding area at the top where they can come out. That's probably where they're hiding at the moment now. But they also have all of this cliff face. So this is like the Himalayas. It's never going to be exactly the same, but we're trying to copy it as best as we can so that we can keep our animals in as much of a natural environment as possible. So all these animals are part of breeding programs, and we're involved in what we call in situ and ex situ conservation. Sounds a bit complicated. In situ conservation, looking after animals in the wild. Ex situ conservation, looking after animals in captivity. And that's exactly what we're doing here. And we have been lucky enough for us to actually have not one, not two, but 5 snow leopards here. We've got mum and dad, and we have 3 cubs. And they are that big at the moment. They're only about 4 or 5 months old, but they are getting bigger and bigger. And if you're lucky, sometimes you can see them on the cliff face. But why are we studying? Why are we looking after snow leopards? Well, because they're endangered. And many of these animals that live with them that we mentioned earlier are also endangered. One of those is the Pallas's cat. So we're actually working with the Snow Leopard Conservation Trust. And we are working with them with Pika. And PICA is the Pallas Cat International Conservation Alliance. And this is how we're able to study these animals in the wild. And you can see some of the pictures that Helena is showing you are actually camera trap pictures. So these are capturing these animals in the wild without us being there. And camera traps are absolutely fantastic. We are using them not only in the zoo so we can keep an eye on our animals when we're not there, but we're also using it in the wild. And we want to highlight the problems that these animals are facing. So unfortunately, they are being hunted, but very few people know what the Pallas cats are all about. Very few people know what they're eating, what they're doing, where they're living. So all this is research that we are involved in so we can find out about these amazing animals. Other projects that we're involved in is the Pantanal project in South America. Now, there are some resources that you can download from the Keep Scotland Beautiful website resource page, and there they will show you, and there is activities about the Pantanal and the animals that are caught on our camera traps. So we're actually studying the giant armadillo, and it's the size of a pig. It is enormous, okay, for an armadillo. And some armadillos can be tiny. They can be like the fairy armadillo is only about 6 to 8 inches long. So tiny, but they can grow huge like the giant armadillo. And the giant armadillo is a very, very important animal. They are ecosystem engineers. What does that mean? Well, what they do, they help other animals. Now, the giant armadillo actually digs holes. It makes burrows. And we were studying them. We were watching them. And we didn't know how important they were until we put a camera trap on their burrow. And one of the amazing things that we have found is that the burrows are actually used by anything up to 70 other different species of animal out there. And they will use them as bolt holes. They will use them as hideaways. They will sleep in there during the hot day or to escape predators. And these animals, or even using them for hunting as well. So these animals are using the giant armadillo dens or burrows for something for themselves as well. But what we're going to do now, we've been talking about these projects that we're involved in, absolutely fantastic. But we have a test for you. We have a quick quiz. Now, Kat is my lovely assistant in Teens World, and she's going to share a screen, and she is putting that up on there. Now, you will see that there is a film. This film will play, okay? There will be 3 questions, and those 3 questions you are based on the film. So you have to watch the film carefully, make sure you see what is on there, how many there are. Oh, I'm giving you some clues here. So, and then we'll test you how good you've been observing the camera trap films. Right then. Okay, Kat, when you're ready, you can start the film, and everybody watch, pay attention, and then we'll go through the questions afterwards.
Right, Jasper, I think that's your film finished. Shall we move on to the questions?
Guys, so hopefully you have now seen the video. So Kat, if you could click on to the next slide, and then we should get the first question. You'll have to excuse me, I'm a little bit huffy puffy. We've just ran down the hill. So what we've got now, so how many different animals were recorded in the film? So hopefully you were paying attention, and I'll give you, so you can put your answers on there on the chat. Oh, 6, 5B. Oh, somebody went for C, 4C. Oh, B's and C. Oh, 4 or 5. Okay. So what we're going to do, you get your answers in, and Kat, if you could click and we can reveal the answers. What is the answer going to be? I can't remember what the answer is now. So lots of answers. Oh, so how many different animals were recorded in the film? And the answer is it work? Oh, there we go. It is working. Whoa. So it is C. It is 6. So for those of you who said C and 6, well done. You got the right answer. So what we're going to do, we are now going to go on to the next question. So what is the next question? How many snow leopards were spotted in the clip? Oh, that's quite a difficult one. Hopefully you guys were paying attention. So put your answers in the chat. Oh, we're getting the 3s, we're getting 5s. Oh, a lot of 3 popping up. 2s and 5s, 2s and 5s. Yeah, A, Bs. Oh, yeah. That's good. I'm impressed. Oh, definitely A's and B's are definitely the most popular answer so far. But there's only one answer. It can only be one. So, Kat, if you want to start revealing the answers, let us see what is there. It is B. It is 5. So for all of those who got 5B, well done. And the last and final question, how many snow leopards were active at night? Is it A, 0, B, 1, C, 2, or D, 3? Oh, there's a lot of C's. There is a lot of C's. Oh, there's a B popped up. Oh. Oh, a couple more B's. Right then, Kat, let's reveal the answer. What is the answer? How many snow leopards were active at night? It was B. It was 1. I don't know what you guys are saying. Somebody said D. Wow. What film were you watching, guys? So, absolutely fantastic. Well done. So, Kat, what we'll do, we'll unshare. We'll take that little quiz off there. But all those pictures, all those videos that you have just seen are all the kind of pictures that we would get on our camera traps. So these camera traps are absolutely fantastic. Like you say, they will activate. They're activated by sound. They're activated by movement. They're activated by heat. And they are an absolutely fantastic piece of equipment for us to be able to study these animals. Why do we want to study these animals? We want to find out what's going on. But if we're sat there and we're watching, they'll see us. They'll smell us. Some animals' sense of smell is far superior to ours. And they'll go, there's a human, there's a predator, let's hide. Okay. And then we're not seeing this fantastic engaging behavior. But we saw some animals that were scent marking, they were moving through the territory. And this is what we want to know. We can then tell how many animals there are, and we can then hopefully we can then build up a good idea of the ecosystem in which they're living, and also how are they engaging. So now one of the other projects that we are really involved in, it's not just exotic animals. We are also involved in, I'll just turn the camera around, it is native species. So does anybody know what this animal is? There we go. Does anybody know? Put it in the chat. What animal is it? What are people saying?
Beaver.
Beaver, yes, fantastic. I'm impressed with you. So yes, this is a beaver. And we are actually one of the lead partners for the reintroduction of beaver back into Scotland. So these animals used to be found in Scotland 400 years ago. This is when we believe they went extinct. Now, they're not globally extinct. Globally extinct, give me some animals which are globally extinct. Put it in the chat. I'll keep on talking. So these are animals that are gone, never to be seen again.
Dodo.
Dodo. Oh, brilliant, Jess. What are any other new ones coming up other than dodo? Dodo's always the popular-
Dinosaurs.
Dinosaurs. That covers a whole gambit of animals there. Anything else?
Oh, let's see. Woolly mammoth.
Woolly mammoth. Yeah, woolly mammoths. Unfortunately, they are completely extinct. But these animals were locally extinct. So they disappeared from our ecosystem in Scotland until 2009. RZSS, with its partners, were able to reintroduce this animal into southwest Scotland, into Knapdale. There, we introduced them. And again, just like the armadillo, they are ecosystem engineers. They are very, very important to the ecosystem because they build habitat. They make ponds. They bring in insects. They bring in predators. These animals all feed on into each other and off each other, and they are part of the ecosystem. This is how it works. And we were able to observe this. Beavers, as of 2020, are now recognized as an official species of Scotland, which is absolutely fantastic. So we have now brought this animal back, but it's not just stopping there. We are looking at relocating animals that become a pest in some areas. Some people aren't always keen on the beavers, but like you say, and hopefully, fingers crossed, the Cairngorm National Park, where we are at the moment, are hoping to reintroduce beavers back into the Cairngorm National Park, right on my doorstep, right on the edge of the wildlife park in a place called the Inch Marshes. And that is something which is really, really exciting. So other native species that we're involved in are the wildcats. So this is a wildcat here, okay? And we are doing an amazing project. Oh, look, there's a wildcat just down there. We can see there's a wildcat. Now, Helena is an expert on the wildcat. Which species is this, Helena?
This should be Tala.
This is Tala. So we've got a nice close-up, and she is a female. And she is, well, very different from your domestic cat. Domestic cat. Oh, we've got a keeper as well. They're rare and endangered species as well. Keepers are. So, oh, she's just moving back into her enclosure. So, but what is the difference between a wild cat and a domestic cat? But hopefully she'll come back onto the boardwalk. Let's just step away from her. Let's see if she'll come back. Because they are very shy. They are very elusive. There you go. But look at those stripes. You can see the stripes on her body. You can see her nice, thick, bushy tail. She's got, oh, excuse me. She's got a nice, big, thick, bushy tail, blunt tip, black tip, with anything up to 3 to 5 rings. Now, some of you are saying, but my cat looks a bit like that. Well, that's where we get our tabbies from. Tabbies are a throwback to the wildcats and their markings, but tabbies have a lot more white in their body rather than ours, which are quite dark. Why are they quite dark? Because they've got fantastic, put it in the chat, what is it they've got that makes them hide in the vegetation? Anybody coming up with any answers yet? Oh, I can hear those.
Oh, camouflage.
Yes, I can hear those keyboards frantically going. Yes, it is camouflage. She's come around, she's looking at her. So now, one of the big projects that we are involved, oh, here it is, this is what I'm looking for, is that we are looking at breeding these animals in captivity. So what are we going to do with all these animals? We've actually got loads and loads of wildcats now here in the wildlife park, but we've only got a handful on display to the general public, because what we are actually doing is this picture here. So these are our breeding facility, okay? And this is somewhere where nobody can go to, no general, even I can't go up there. Only the keepers can go up there who are looking after them from Saving Wildcats. You can go onto our website, get more information, savingwildcats.org.uk. And in here, we will have a male and a female. We'll have a male and a female here. We've got a male and a female here. The two males and females will join together. They will then hopefully get on. They will then hopefully have babies. And then we separate the male from the female because he doesn't normally hang around with the female when she's pregnant. She will then give birth and then she will look after the kittens. Big news. This went out. When did it go out, Helena? Was it last week? Last week, we have got 22 wildcat kittens have been born on site here. And these wildcat kittens are going to be the first wildcats that are going back into the wild. But we can't just open the gates and let them loose. We have to train them. We have to get them re-established. We have to get them familiar with their environment. We have to give them the skills that they have so that they can survive in the wild. That's what we need them to do. So if any of you have any pet cats, do they ever bring you any presents? I bet they might do. Maybe mice, maybe voles. I had a cat that brought me a hare once. That was a big cat. So, and what they will do, they learn these, they have these skills and they need to perfect these hunting skills. If your domestic cat can hunt, so can these guys because they're as wild as they can be. We don't engage with them at all. We don't stroke them. So, so what we will then do, we will then put them into a release pen before we introduce them and re-establish them back into the wild where it is absolutely fantastic for them. So this is a very important project that has been funded by the EU. What's the name of the charity? Can you remember, Helena?
Which?
The EU.
Oh, EU Life Programme.
That was it, the EU Life Programme. So, and they gave us, was it £3.5 million? £3.5 million. And this has all gone in to help and look after these amazing and endangered animals. Oh, I see another wildcat. Let's go down there. I think this is Blair. Is this Blair down here, Helena?
Oh, yes, perfect.
Right
Yes.
up front. Oh, look at that tail. Oh, nice big, thick, bushy tail. Oh, we're disturbing him. He's going to the toilet. And here was him thinking he could go to the loo in peace. Now, you can see he's a little bit bigger than the female, but look at that tail. Absolutely fantastic. Now, and where's he going? Is he just he's probably heading back off to bed? So now, like I say, we've had a look at some of the exotic animals. We're going to have a look at some of our native animals. Can anybody tell me what native is? Put it in the chat. So what we're going to do, Kat. Now, Kat's going to share her screen, and another PowerPoint is going to come up, and you will see there will be pictures, and there will also be videos. Now, the pictures are going to be up for 4 seconds. The videos are going to be up for 20 seconds. I want you to write down on a piece of paper or on a whiteboard or anything that you can write on, preferably not desks. So, and make sure that you write down and identify correctly as many of the animals as possible. So has that screen popped up yet? Has it shared?
Not just yet. We're just it will go onto the next screen. That's fine. Yes, perfect. Okay, that's popped up. We also got some great answers to what does native mean.
Ooh.
So people say belonging to our country. They've always lived here. It lives in the local area.
Fantastic. So, that covers everything. Well done, guys.
Perfect. So we've got the screen up.
Oh, we got the screen on. We're sharing. Excellent. So like I say, all of these animals, where all of these pictures were taken by a camera trap. And can you identify these native species? Right then, Kat, what we're going to do, hopefully it will transition properly. Failing that, you might just have to give it a nudge, but we'll see how it goes. Okay, Kat, when you're ready, set it going. Right then, guys, absolutely fantastic. Those keyboards must be burning up with the amount of typing that was going on there. So what we're going to do, we're now going to reveal the answers. There were some hard ones in there, and hopefully you may have spotted them. Right then, Kat, if you could activate the answers, that would be fantastic. So we've got, back. Oh, you were too heavy with the clicks there, Kat. So there you can see we've got rabbits, foxes, badger, pheasant, capercaillie. That was quite a difficult one, particularly if you're not in Scotland. You might not know that one. Hares. What's the difference between a rabbit and a hare? Anybody know? Hares are larger, but also look at their ears. The ears are much larger on a hare, and they also have black tips to them as well. So rabbits are much smaller. Oh, and somebody said speed. Yes, hares are a lot faster than rabbits. So now stoat. I did see people say stoat and weasel, but weasels are much smaller than stoats, and the stoats are they're actually brown, white with a black tip to their tail. Now I did see a lot of people put deer. Give yourself half a point if you put deer, but did I see any roe deer? So I wasn't sure. Some people saying they got 9, some people say they got 12. So what else can we got? So we got wildcats, we got pine martens, we got red squirrels. Now, well done for the wildcats. You saw the sign, you saw their tail, but number 14 was the hardest one of all. It was very quick, and it was right in the center of the screen, and it was an ermine. Now, what is an ermine? It is a stoat in winter coat. Basically, stoats, maybe brown, white, and with a black tip to their tail. In the winter, when the daylight starts to get shorter, they will start to change color, particularly the ones up here in Scotland. And they will then turn almost pure white. And all you see is that black tip to the tail. And if you were lucky, if you're very observant, you may have seen it in the pictures. So all of these animals make up the ecosystem that we have here in the Highlands of Scotland. But which ones are carnivores, herbivores, or omnivores? Carnivores, what do carnivores like to eat? Put it in the chat. What do herbivores like to eat? And what do omnivores like to eat? So we've seen a lot of meats there. So what do omnivores like to eat? Remember them as well. Oh, herbivores, plants. Oh yeah, everything. Omnivores like to eat everything. Yes. So no. So what we can do is, Kat, if you like to click on the next bit of answers. So those of you who were very observant may have saw them, and these will pop up. It will say herbivore, omni, or carnivore. So you can see it's a real mix. So many of these animals are predators, but a lot of them are prey as well. So right at the bottom of the food chain is the grass, the vegetation. They are then eaten by the rabbits. But what do you think would like to eat the rabbits? Well, foxes would like to eat them. Stoats, pine martens, buzzards, wildcats, and ermines all like to eat rabbits. Some of these animals will also go for stuff like larger stuff, like the pheasants or the rats, depending upon, say, if it's a bird of prey, like a buzzard. So all of these animals build up the ecosystem so that they can live and survive. Right then, what we are going to do now, I am going to turn my camera around. Thank you very much, Kat. You can take the, you can stop sharing the screen, and I then going to go over to, where is she? There she is. So I am going to go over to Helena. There's Helena.
Hi, everyone. So Jasper spoke a bit about the exciting Saving Wildcats project, and it is the first project in the UK to restore wildcats back to Scotland, which is super exciting. Jasper spoke a tiny bit about our conservation breeding for release centre, which is where we currently have those 22 wildcat kittens that we spoke about. And Jasper also mentioned that before these kittens go out into the wild, we've got to get them ready for all the challenges that wildlife can bring. When they're in the wild, no one's going to be feeding them. They've got to find their own prey. So, like rabbits, for example. before we release them into the wild, we've also got to do a lot of work as well. So it's not just the wildcats getting ready to go out there, we're getting ready for them to go out there too, which is really exciting. And in order to do that, we have to work out if the habitat is suitable for them to go into. How do we work that out? So we ourselves go into that habitat and do a lot of ecological surveying using, you guessed it, camera traps. So here I just set up a camera trap and we'll just zoom in on that. So camera traps can be made by lots of different companies and organizations, and essentially what they do is take a photo of all the different prey species that we're looking for. They're triggered, as Jasper has said, by infrared, by heat, by sound, and by movement. So I'm sort of going to talk you a bit through how we set up our camera traps. So it's very important, first of all, to make sure that where you set up a camera trap, the person who owns the land is happy for you to do so. So you can email, you can phone them, you can get in touch with someone, and if it's their land, they say, yes, absolutely fine, feel free to set up a camera trap like I've done here. The second thing to do is make sure it's at a good height. So you want to pick up the most species possible. Here, I always go with my knee height. Obviously, some of your knees might be a little bit closer to the ground, but knee height is great. It's also really important that you set up the camera traps in a way that means that you'll actually capture where species are. We like to find very small trails, for example, that like deer and rabbits use. And it's also important not to set it up somewhere where loads of people are, because otherwise all you get are lots of pictures of knees and sometimes a lot of dog walkers. So a lot of snuffly dog noses checking out the camera and to see what's there. Sometimes we bait the cameras, which means we put something that they might like, so some of the species might like in front of it. For wildcats and for cats, we use it's like a type of herb almost, a type of root called valerian, and it stinks. Our whole office smells so bad sometimes, but cats really like the scent of it. So if we're trying to find out if there are other cats living in the landscape, that is what we use. So once we get all of the images from the camera trap, we go back to our very smelly office. We sit there in front of our computers and we look at all the hundreds and thousands of images that we've got of these species. So sometimes we just click through and go rabbit, 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 rabbit. But all of that data helps us generate an overlay on a map. So it sounds a bit complicated. Essentially what it is, we get a map of the area and we know the location of where we've put all the camera traps. So we know what species are on all the camera traps, which is fantastic. So we get this information, put it in a map, put it on top of the map we've got, and then we work out where the best place to release wildcats is.
So, like I say, this is absolutely fantastic information. And like I say, Helena is an expert at this. Oh, there she is. So now, so we've got some really cool stuff. You can actually download, you can actually buy a camera trap. If you're lucky enough, you can buy a camera trap and you can use this in your garden, in your school, in your wildlife, anywhere, and you can do surveys. Get involved in citizen science. Now, I believe you are all being involved in a competition. This competition is art, okay? But I was talking to the organizers, and guess what they've gone and got for the prizes for the winners? They have managed to secure camera traps. So enter the competition, put your art in, and then if you're lucky enough and you get chosen, you could also win a camera trap. And you could set this up in your garden, like I say, or around your school, which is fantastic. Now, for those of you who can't access the camera traps, there are some downloads on the Keep Scotland Beautiful page where you can make a footprint trap. Now, this doesn't take photographs, but what it does, you can make a tunnel, you can put food in there, you can put some animal-friendly ink on some pads. The animals walk across the pads, they get their feet covered in the animal-friendly ink, and then they walk across the paper, and you can then see if you can identify what animals are lurking around your school. But like I say, you can download the instructions for this activity. Just remember, like I say, you want to build up your wild landscape. You want to find out what animals are there. And this is fantastic science work that you can get involved in. And you can also put some of your information on iNaturalist or various other apps where they are wanting to know all about the different animals in your area. Well, hopefully you've enjoyed. I know we've probably talked a little bit longer than we should have, but hopefully you've enjoyed today. You've learned a little bit about some of the animals we've got here and also how to do some camera trapping. So what we'll do, we'll say goodbye. And oh, there's Helena. You can see her hand. And like I say, enjoy the rest of your day. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. That was amazing. Love seeing the wildcats and listening to you talk about how to set up a camera trap. And I love the idea of a wildlife tunnel. That is very cool. Just a quick reminder of the 3 things that we're asking you to do this week. First of all, we're asking you to do a litter pick around your school. We're asking you to enter our craft visit competition to win that amazing camera trap, the virtual tour of either Highland Wildlife Park or Edinburgh Zoo. And we're asking you to sign our Climate Action Schools pledge. All the resources that Jasper and Helena were talking about today are in the SharePoint folder that was emailed to all your teachers, so hopefully you can find them. If you can't, just give us a quick email at ecoschools@keepscotlandbeautiful.org. If you have a question, that's also the email address to send to us if you want to ask a question about wildcats or any of the other topics that we've discussed today or this week. And as always, we love seeing your photos. We love hearing you say hello to us. Please remember to let us know if it's okay to share your photos if you tweet them to us or you send them to us in our email address. It was wonderful to have you all with us again. Thank you so much, and I hope to see you tomorrow for our assembly, where we are hoping to join the Running Out of Time relay and also have special guest First Minister Nicola Sturgeon. Fingers crossed. Thanks so much. Bye.